Hi everybody. Today we're going to begin chapter 2 of the Penderwicks, and chapter 2 is called A Tunnel Through the Hedge. Arundel Cottage was not only yellow, it was the creamiest, butteriest yellow the Penderwicks had ever seen. It was all a cottage is supposed to be, small and snug with a front porch, pink climbing roses, and lots of trees for shade. The key was under the doormat, just as Cagney had said it would be. Mr. Penderwick unlocked the door and the family piled through. If possible, the inside of the cottage was even more charming than the outside, all in pretty shades of blues and greens, and with the comfortable kind of furniture too sturdy to damage unless you try. Off the living room was a cozy study with a big desk and a sleeping couch, where Mr. Penderwick immediately claimed for himself, saying he wanted to be as far as possible from the madding crowd. Now it was time for the sisters to go upstairs and choose their bedrooms. Dib's first choice. Skye headed toward the steps with her suitcase. No fair, said Jane. I hadn't thought of it yet. Right, I thought of it first, which is why I get first choice, said Skye, already halfway up to the second floor. Come back, Skye, said Rosalind. Hound draws for order. Skye groaned and reluctantly came back downstairs. She hated leaving important things up to Hound, and besides, he usually drew her last. The Hound draw for order was a time-honored ritual with the sisters. Names were written on small pieces of paper, then dropped on the ground along with broken bits of dog biscuit. As Hound snuffled among the biscuit pieces, he couldn't help but knock into the papers. The person whose paper his big nose hit first was given first choice. Second hit, second choice, and so on. Rosalind and Jane readied the slips of paper, Batty crumbled a dog biscuit, and Skye held Hound, whispering her name over and over in his ear, trying to hypnotize him. Her efforts were useless, though. Once let go, he touched Jane's paper first, then Rosalind's, and then Batty's. Skye's piece of paper he ate along with the last piece of biscuit. Great, said Skye sadly. I've got fourth choice, and Hound's going to throw up again. Jane, Batty, and Rosalind flew up the stairs with their suitcases to take their claims on bedrooms. Skye sat downstairs and fretted. She'd been looking forward to picking out a special bedroom, painted white maybe, which she could keep neat and organized. Once upon a time, many years ago, she had slept in a room like that. But then Batty was born and put into Jane's room, and Jane moved in with Skye. And suddenly half of Skye's bedroom was painted lavender and filled with Jane's dolls and books and untidy piles of paper. Even that wouldn't have been so bad if the dolls and papers weren't always drifting over to Skye's side of the room. It had driven Skye crazy, and since Jane had gotten no neater over time, still did. And now, on vacation, Skye had the last pick and would probably end up in some dark, ugly closet. Life was unfair. Rosalind was calling from upstairs. Skye, we've all chosen. Come see your bedroom. Skye dragged herself up the stairs and down the hall to the bedroom Rosalind pointed out. She walked in and was so surprised she let her suitcase fall to the floor with a loud thump. This was no dark, ugly closet. Her sisters had left her the most perfect bedroom Skye had ever seen. The room was large and white and sparkling clean with polished wood floors and 3 windows and 2 beds, a whole extra bed without a sister to go along with it. She wouldn't change a thing about her room. She would leave her stuff in her suitcase and store the suitcase in the closet and keep the dresser top bare and the bookshelf empty. No dolls or combs or brushes or notebooks. And she would use both beds, sleeping in one on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and in the other on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Sunday nights, she would have to switch in the middle of the night. Skye opened her suitcase, pulled out a math book, she was teaching herself algebra for fun, and wrote the bed schedule next to her favorite word problem about trains traveling in different directions. Next, she rummaged around for her lucky camouflage hat, the one she'd been wearing when she fell off the garage roof and didn't break any arms or legs. There it was, under her black t-shirts. Skye crammed the hat onto her head and closed the suitcase and shoved it into the closet. Now for exploring, she said, and after one more long, satisfied look at her glorious bedroom, left in search of her sisters. Rosalind was down the hall in a small bedroom with only one window and one bed, neatly transferring clothes from her suitcase to dresser drawers. "You gave me the better room," said Skye. "I wanted to be near Batty," said Rosalind. "Well, thanks," said Skye, who knew that Rosalind would have loved the luxury of a large bedroom. Rosalind took a framed picture out of her suitcase and set it on her bedside table. Skye walked over to look. Though she already knew the picture by heart, Rosalind kept it beside her bed at home too, and Skye had seen it a million times. It showed Mrs. Penderwick laughing and hugging little baby Rosalind, still so young that not even Skye had been born yet, let alone Jane or Batty. It was a strongly held belief among all the Penderwicks that Skye would grow up to look exactly like her mother. All the Penderwicks, that is, except for Skye. She thought her mother was the most beautiful woman she had ever seen, and it certainly wasn't beauty that Skye saw when she looked in the mirror. The blonde hair and blue eyes were the same. True, but that was it as far as Skye could tell. And then, of course, there was that other big difference. Skye couldn't imagine herself ever hugging a little baby and laughing at the same time. Batty burst out of Rosalind's closet, her wings flying behind her. "I found a secret passage," said Batty. Skye looked into the closet and saw straight through into another bedroom exactly like Rosalind's, but with Batty's suitcase lying open on the bed. "It's not a secret passage. It's a closet between the two bedrooms. It's a secret passage and you can't use it." Skye turned her back on Batty and said to Rosalind, "I'm going exploring. Do you want to come?" "Not now. I'm still getting settled. Can Batty go with you?" asked Rosalind. "No," said Skye. Skye left before Rosalind could try to change anyone's mind. Jane had staked her claim on the third floor, which was really the attic. Skye skipped up a steep flight of steps and discovered her younger sister perched on a narrow brass bed, writing furiously in a blue notebook and muttering to herself. The boy Arthur shook the iron bars and raged against his wicked kidnapper. No, that's too dramatic. How about Arthur stared sadly? No, the lonely boy named Arthur stared sadly out the window, never dreaming that help was on the way. Oh, that's a good sentence. Unknown to him, the great Sabrina. Skye interrupted her. "I'm going exploring. Do you want to come?" Her eyes shining, Jane said, "Look at this wonderful bedroom. It was meant for an author. I know I can write the perfect Sabrina Starr book here. I can feel it. Can you feel it? Skye looked around the tiny room with its sloped ceiling and one round window high on the wall. Already there were books all over the floor. "No, I don't feel anything." "Well, try harder. The feeling is so strong. I'm sure that some famous writer has been here before me, like Louisa May Alcott. Jane, do you want to come with me or not?" "No, I have to write some ideas down for my book. I might have Sabrina Starr rescue an actual person in this book, like a boy, don't you think?" "I didn't think she could even rescue a groundhog," said Skye, but Jane was already writing. Skye ran down 2 flights of steps and outside. She found her father getting Hound settled in his pen. It was, to Skye's eyes, a sort of doggy paradise. The metal fence was tall, and Hound didn't like fences, but the pen was large, and inside it were trees for shade, sticks for chewing, and a patch of dirt for digging. Plus, Mr. Penderwick had put out a huge bowl of Hound's favorite food and 2 bowls of fresh water. Hound, however, wasn't grateful. When he saw Skye, he rushed the gate, barking and whining as though he was being locked up in a dungeon. "Be still," said Mr. Penderwick. "He's trying to open the gate," said Skye, watching Hound poke and prod with his nose at the metal latch. "That latch is dog-proof. He'll be safe in here. Sky reached through the fence and scratched Hound's nose. Daddy, I'm going exploring. Is that okay? As long as you're back an hour before dinner. And Sky ran off. Mr. Let's skip ahead here. Mr. Penderwick yelled after her, "Look before you leap, please, and please don't do anything crazy." "Don't worry, Daddy," she called back, and she meant it. Sneaking into that Mrs. Tifton's gardens, which is what Sky planned to do, wasn't crazy. On the other hand, it wasn't the most correct thing, according to Harry the Tomato Man, but maybe he'd been wrong. Maybe Mrs. Tifton loved having strangers wandering around her gardens. After all, anything's possible, thought Sky. The land surrounding the cottage was large enough for 3 or 4 soccer fields. Not that anyone could play a normal game of soccer there, thought Sky. Too many trees. They grew thickest behind the cottage, and the spaces between were filled with nasty, thorny underbrush. The land in front was much more inviting. Here, the trees were farther apart, and pretty grasses and wildflowers grew among them. On one side of the property, a high stone wall separated the cottage from its neighbors. Along the front and the other side ran a boundary hedge. Sky knew that Mrs. Tifton's gardens were beyond that hedge. She had 2 options for getting there. She could walk back up the driveway and through the break in the hedge, boring and likely to lead to being caught. Or she could crawl through the hedge and emerge in some sheltered garden nook where neither Mrs. Tifton nor anyone else would be likely to see her. Definitely option 2, Sky decided, veering away from the driveway and toward the hedge. But she found the hedge to be thicker and more prickly than she had anticipated, and after several attempts to crawl through, she had accomplished nothing except snagging her hat twice and scratching her arms until it looked like she had fought a tiger. Then, when she was just about to give up and go around by the driveway, she discovered a way in. It was a tunnel, carefully hidden behind a clump of tall wildflowers and just the right size for going through on all 4s. Now, if Rosalind had been the first to discover that tunnel, she would have noticed that it was too neatly trimmed and pricker-free to be there by mistake, and she would have figured that someone used it often, and that this someone probably wasn't Mrs. Tifton. If Jane had been there first, she too would have realized that natural forces hadn't formed that tunnel. Her explanation for it would have been nonsense, an escape route for convicts on the run or talking badgers, but at least she would have thought about it. But this was Sky, and she only thought, I need a way through the hedge, and here it is. And then she plunged. And I'm going to stop there because, as you can probably see, it started to rain. So we'll finish chapter 2 at another time.